Concerta changed my life. Hi, my name is John, and 8 years ago I was diagnosed with ADHD. I am here to help you. So let's go. Concerta is a stimulant medication similar to Ritalin or Adderall, and it helps you stay focused on what you need to do by controlling and fine-tuning the amount of dopamine in your brain. It helps you stay focused by giving you a constant supply of dopamine. Concerta, you take it in the morning and it's supposed to last you approximately 8 hours. So it's an extended release medication, and it's a little pill that is slowly pushes out methylphenidate into your bloodstream over the course of the day. Usually 8 hours, but it depends on the person, depends on their metabolism, things like that. It differs from, say, Ritalin or Adderall because Ritalin and Adderall in their normal forms are just instant release, which only lasts maybe a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours. I'm not sure, I've never taken it. But Concerta is a extended release formulation intended for an entire day's use. So just keep that in mind. Now, Concerta changed my life. I have ADHD, so I have problems with things like focus, with getting easily distracted, things like that. And before my diagnosis, before getting the Concerta prescription, before starting to take Concerta, I had a lot of problems, like I couldn't follow conversation. I couldn't read a book. If it wasn't a book, if it wasn't a book that I liked, maybe a fiction book or something, maybe if it was like a textbook, a math textbook or something, I could never focus on it. I remember in my first year university math class, looking at the same first page of the math textbook and reading it over and over and over and over again, thinking, why can't I remember this? Why can't I understand this? And it was the first page, and I read it over for like an hour. And that's happened to me throughout my entire life. It caused me problems, caused me difficulties in not just school, but work, relationships, and things like that. As a result, I had poor grades in university. I almost had to drop out of university. I failed many classes. I got a really low GPA when I graduated. After that, I had trouble at work, and I had trouble sticking to deadlines and sticking to meetings and things like that. Couldn't pay attention in presentations, and it's caused me a lot of problems. Not to mention, having difficulties with relationships, like forgetting people's birthdays, forgetting to do something for someone, forgetting to reply to someone's message or give them a phone call. These are all problems that I've had and that many ADHD people have. After having some trouble at work around 2016, the bosses were questioning my ability to stick to deadlines. People were calling me out on my ability to, do the work properly. I went and got a diagnosis. And from 2016, I started taking Concerta. Now, Concerta really did change my life. After starting to take Concerta, everything improved. Everything in my life improved. I was able to follow in conversations. I was able to read complicated texts, like complicated articles, complicated manuals, technical documents, things like that. No problem. I could read them no matter how much I hated them. I could stick to my work deadlines and things like that. In addition to that, I was able to, stick to long-term projects and long-term goals. Before, I would have a hard time sticking to a project that was less than a week, less than a couple weeks. But now, with Concerta, I've been able to stick to projects over months, over years, and things like that. With Concerta, I stopped getting distracted at work. I stopped getting distracted by my phone, by notifications, by phone calls, by things that I just suddenly remember. I stopped getting distracted by all those things. And Concerta has changed my life in that regard. I feel better. I feel more confident now that I can do my work properly. I feel confident about leading the life that I want to live because now I have this medication that helps me stay focused, that helps me keep on track towards my goals, towards the things that I want to do. Before Concerta, I was completely lost. I would take any which way and hope that it would lead to the best for me. But now I have the ability to choose the direction I want to take because I can control myself, because I can focus on the things that I want to focus on. So Concerta truly has changed my life. I want to talk about side effects of Concerta. So before Concerta and after Concerta, my personality is different. After I take Concerta, I become a very professional kind of person. Without Concerta, I'm very outgoing, very relaxed, very chill type of guy. I enjoy having fun, making jokes, things like that. But now when I'm on Concerta, I'm more focused, I'm more precise, I'm more professional. In addition to that, I think there's a loss of vocabulary. I think, and this ties into something much larger, but without Concerta, I can think of a lot of different words to use in a sentence, in a conversation. But with Concerta, I sort of lose that ability and my vocabulary, my dictionary becomes a little bit smaller. This is one thing I don't like. But I think that touches on something that's much larger in that Concerta also makes me less creative. I feel that my creativity has shrunk a little bit on Concerta. I feel like I can't think as quickly or think as creatively on Concerta. But I am able to focus on the things I need to focus on. So that's sort of a trade-off there. The biggest negative about Concerta is the crash. Concerta is a medication that you take in the morning. It's supposed to push out dopamine into your bloodstream for approximately 8 hours. When that 8 hours is over, when the medication stops working, I become really tired. I become a little bit irritable. I become a little bit sad and depressed. And I get a lot of cravings. So it's not uncommon for me to come home from work 5 p.m., 6 p.m., medication's worn off, and I just want to eat. I just want to have a beer. I just want to eat something really sweet. And so when I come home from work, I sort of binge eat and sometimes drink, and it's not very healthy. So this is one negative side effect that I have. And I think it's because all the dopamine that the medication was pushing out is now depleted, is now gone. But my body is still craving that dopamine from somewhere. And it pushes me to binge eat, to eat sweet things, to drink alcohol. This is not a very healthy thing. So if you take Concerta, please keep this in mind. Please keep an eye on this. And the other big thing that I really don't like is that when you start taking Concerta, it's very hard to get off because of the withdrawals. If you take it for a long time, more than a couple weeks, your body gets used to the dopamine levels in your body, in your brain. And if you were to suddenly stop taking it, your body doesn't like that. Your body is seeking the dopamine that it used to have, and as a result, because there's no dopamine anymore, you become extremely tired, extremely lethargic. You can't do anything. You can't get out of bed. And I find that if I ever stop taking Concerta after having taken it for a while, I become very sleepy every single day. I sleep in too much. I don't do anything, and I become very unproductive. So once you start it, it's very difficult to get off it. And if you were to get off of it, you need to plan for that very carefully. I've gone on and off of it many times over the past 8 years. And what I always do to sort of get through that withdrawal phase is make sure that I take time off for that, and also make sure that I exercise regularly as a supply of dopamine to my brain, to my body. And I also have caffeine pills or coffee or something as a stimulant to replace the stimulating effect of Concerta. So that sort of highlights my experience with Concerta. Overall, there are many positive effects, and there are some negative effects, but generally speaking, Concerta, this medication, has been a net positive towards my life. It's helped me in many different ways. Although it comes at a small cost, it's definitely worth being able to regain control of your future, of your focus, of your actions, and of your life. So if you have any questions, leave a comment, send me a message. I'm happy to talk about it even more. One thing I also forgot to mention was that this stuff that I showed you before, this is Concerta, right? But this is 27 milligrams. I've taken everywhere from 18 milligrams all the way to 54 milligrams. The 18 milligrams is a great start, but I don't think you can use that for long term unless you're a child. It's very, very small. So 27, 36 is kind of like my comfort zone. 54 was a little bit too much for me. But I can go more into detail on Concerta in another video. I just wanted to give a rough overview of Concerta and its positives and negatives. So yeah. Concerta will give you dry mouth. If you take Concerta, make sure that you carry some water around with you, water bottle, things like that. Carry some mints or gum or candy, just to keep the saliva flowing. So keep that in mind. Thanks.